Hi, I'm Lauren, and in today's video I want to share with you the difference between a habit and a ritual. So we're very used to hearing about habits. We hear about good habits, we hear about bad habits. And what are habits? Essentially, they are actions that we perform so regularly that they become almost involuntary. So what are some common habits? For a lot of people, brushing their teeth. Some people have habits related to movement. Like some people, a bad habit would be picking your nails. I like my nails to be very smooth, and if they're not, I have a habit of like worrying over them with my fingernails. So there are, again, good habits and bad habits. Taking a walk every single day. Making sure that you take your vitamins. All those things can be habits. And we as humans are given a limited amount of willpower during the day. And especially when we want to cultivate healthy habits, it's important for them to just become routine so that we do them without thinking and we don't have to use our willpower to overcome our sticky, resistant brain that does not want to do something new or different out of routine. So habits have a very important role in keeping us safe and healthy and cared for. And I'm not here to dump on habits. What I am here to talk about is the difference between habit and ritual and how that can be incredibly empowering in your life to know about, and then starting to incorporate rituals in your life can be a real game changer in how you feel about your day-to-day and how you feel about your life in aggregate, and therefore what you're actually doing with the time that we are given on this planet. So ritual is a tough word. Some people immediately think negative things related to religion. That's because almost all official definitions of ritual have something to do with ceremonials or religion. Now, today's talk is not about religion, but we can pull some really important things from ritual. And the things I want to pull from them got started in religious practices, but we can transfer them over into our lives so that we can create sort of sacred habits that still don't require tons of willpower. So we get to preserve that for the times when we really need it and create connection and meaning in our day-to-day lives. Habits are done almost automatically. We don't even think about it. Rituals are something that require our presence, our intention, our emotion, and our creativity. And rituals, when they're created with those four components, become stickier even than habits from a neuroscience perspective, and I can share a little bit about why in a minute, but they become something that feeds us in a way that habits never will be able to. So let's go back to the basics on ritual. What do I mean by ritual? So rituals for me, and in the way that I define them, are ways that we bring our presence, our intention, our emotions, and our creativity to bear in a thoughtful activity. So what does that mean? Anything really can be a ritual. Washing dishes could become a ritual in your life as easily as putting on your clothing and adornment for the day, as easily as your exercise routine, as easily as your spiritual practice. So anything from the super mundane to the incredibly vital and important can become a ritual, but it's all in how you craft it. If habits are meant to be done by rote and on autopilot, ritual for me is the exact opposite. It is to be done with the utmost care and presence and mindfulness. So what does that look like? What does that look like in day-to-day life? Does that sound like just yet another thing you have to do, or yet another thing you're not doing as well as you could be? yeah, it can feel like that. That's not what I want to put onto your shoulders. You have enough going on right now in the world, in your household. I'm recording this on Saturday, June 6th, and our nation's on fire. And why am I talking about this on today? Well, it's because our lives start at the micro and then flow out towards the macro. And for me, ritual is a way that I can be in touch with the divine. It's a way that I can be in touch with my higher self. And I believe personally that that's a tool that if we are even incrementally increasing those touch points, I just use touch points regarding the divine act, then we can start to have a bigger ripple effect around us. We have to start within. And I'm not saying that we only start within, we can simultaneously be doing things outside of us as well. But it all rings hollow if we are not operating from our place of greatest alignment and greatest purpose. So back to ritual, and what does it have to do with doing the effing dishes? Well, I found that I was really struggling to enjoy the mundane activities of my day-to-day life, of taking care of my household, of taking care of my child, not the playtime things, but more just like the things that have to get done. I noticed that I was procrastinating on a lot of things, and I noticed that I was busy all the time, but I wasn't actually achieving my goals. And a lot of it came down to that my brain is not wired to work within common structures of productivity. And I've tried a ton of different productivity strategies and spreadsheets and 90-day plans and project management software, and none of it was really working for me. And that's because, as someone who's a self-identified rebel and mystic, it wasn't working for me because my brain doesn't work that way. I have a quiz about, are you a marathoner or a sprinter? And I think sprinters are going to identify with this more. When you're a sprinter, you work in spurts and then you take a break. You work in spurts and then you take a break. And our world and these tools just aren't set up for that. And then when you add in the piece about being like a mystic creative, we enjoy spontaneity, wide swaths of time. We want our emotional body to guide some of our actions. And it's hard sometimes to say, oh, well, the spreadsheet says that at 12:10 p.m. it's time to do X. That's really hard if you're a rebel, a mystic, a creative, a sprinter. And so I've been rebelling against those structures my entire life, trying to fit myself into this box and realizing that I really can't. And to ask myself to function the way other people function who are different from me is really quite painful. And so I started to search for new ways of doing things. And in the process of creating the Joy Money Matrix, I created a tool that started out as just a very simple thing called Ritual and Reward. And it's become a much more robust body of work as I've worked with it, as I've used the tool. And as I've used the tool during shelter in place, when all of a sudden we have no access to any outside resources. We're doing childcare 24/7. We're also teaching our children at home, and we're trying to run our businesses and take care of ourselves. It's a monumental task. And I thought this is the time for me to really drill into what ritual and reward can possibly be. Hence today's topic of habits versus rituals. So rituals, when it comes to, let's say, washing the dishes, can be as simple as taking a breath before I get started. Already that feels better. Noticing the smell of the dishwashing detergent. I use Mrs. Meyer's and it's springtime, so I'm going to switch from pine, which I love all through winter, and I'm going to get something more floral for the spring, summertime. And then for me, setting an intention for that period of time, and setting an intention can be super, super simple. So may this serve my family. Easy. I don't even say it out loud. I say it in my head. And start the process. and stay present to the process. I used to rush through things like that and try to get them done as quickly as possible. And there is no hurry. And that is a tough thing to learn in ritual, but there's never any hurry in rituals. We take our time. And in that process, I've elevated something that before was an onerous task to something that is an opportunity for me to connect with my creativity and with the divine and with myself and serve my family in a different way from just doing something with a snarky attitude that feels annoying. And I know which way I would rather do those dishes or fold that laundry or accomplish my business tasks. I want to do those things from a place of connection, higher self, creativity, expansiveness. So that's the difference between a habit and a ritual. And I'll be talking a lot more about these, and there's a link here that you can get notifications about anything related to less hustle, more flow, as I like to say. And join me, because I've got a lot of fun things to share with you. I hope that this video about habits versus rituals was helpful for you, and I will see you soon.